All right, we're live, I believe.
Yay.
Yeah,
I like how your hair is so nice for this live session. And I look like I just stepped out the gym.
that's
But
okay. We're being real. This is spur of the moment. We just got to get the information to the peoples. All
uh-huh.
right. So I think we are live. I have no way of seeing it from the opposite end. So
It
we're just
says
going to
live.
go. Okay. All right. All right. Well, we are doing a live I Get Better episode today. We are going to be discussing the topic of getting better when we get selfish.
Ooh, that sounds mean.
Yeah, it sounds mean, but it's going to be good. It's going to be good because sometimes we all need to get a little bit selfish.
We
So,
do.
yeah. So we're talking about getting selfish as it relates to focusing on self and self-care, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So one of the things that we see coming up a lot,
Yes.
especially for women of color, is the
Yes.
tendency to take on everything and do everything for everybody
Mm-hmm.
until you don't have anything left for yourself,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? So we want to get better at being selfish in a way where we're focusing on self-love,
Mm-hmm.
self-care, self-confidence, and all
Yeah.
of that, right?
We can do a
So
little series.
yeah, I mean, it's a lot, right? So
Yeah,
we
yeah.
have all of this stuff on our plate. We look at taking time for self as a bad thing,
Right.
and it's not. It is okay to say no. It is okay to say, I'm going to prioritize me and put me first for a little bit.
Right.
So we want to talk about how to get better at being selfish
Right.
today,
Right.
right? So of course, this is a little bit different than how we typically do it since it's live, but we do like to follow a format and in defining the thing so that we
So
can.
I have the definition, but we're gonna have to make our own tweak on it.
Right.
But Webster's definition says selfish is a person, an action, or a motive lacking consideration for others, concerned chiefly with one's own personal profit or pleasure.
Mm-hmm.
And so this, when you read it, honestly, this is just a definition, but I think that sort of like the word manipulation, it is just a word
Right.
meaning to move around, manipulate, right? And so selfish, I believe, is sort of one of those words that can be put into a negative or a positive context. We normally see it in a negative way when you hear it. However, when most of my clients, we start talking about boundaries, dot dot dot, and all those areas of their lives where they normally are used to saying yes, 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 and pouring into other people and leaving themselves out, it
Mm-hmm.
starts to feel selfish in the negative way.
Yeah.
So they don't know how to be concerned with their own self and their own profit or pleasure. That to them sounds wrong.
Yeah. So not taking into the consideration of others for your good, not for your detriment or to take something from somebody else.
Right.
And so being able to look at it in a positive light more so than I'm just being rude.
Right. Right.
And so what can we do? So my definition of selfishness would be to recognize number one what I need, and
Right.
then also give myself permission to give it to myself and not feel like I'm not allowed to do that. So or not discount the fact that I need things too. And it's
That's
not just
good.
about what other people need. Because when you prioritize everyone else's needs before your own, it's kind of a form of abuse towards
Yeah.
yourself. It's self-abuse, it's self-sabotage, right? And it's looked at something to kind of take pride in a lot of the time. Like, I take care of everybody. I do everything for everybody. I give and give and give. And there's some value in it, or at least some pride in it, and it's not looked at as negative. And so that's why people don't change and people don't do something different.
Right. Right.
So it's kind of seen as something to aspire to,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
instead of something to maybe check and get in balance and recognize that it's really detrimental not
Right.
to um, put those boundaries in place. Say no, you don't have to be superwoman
Right.
all of the time.
I also think that we don't normally stop and ask ourselves, like, what do I need? So I think stopping, like slowing down and realizing that possibly my reaction is a response to me not getting my needs met, and then asking yourself, who's responsible for meeting my needs? A
Mm-hmm.
lot of times we don't realize I'm out here meeting everybody else's needs, and I'm maybe responding to people, reacting to people out of anger and frustration, yelling at my kids, yelling at people on the road, not doing the things that I need. My back hurt, my neck hurt, I'm procrastinating. I'm not doing the things I said I was going to do, so now I have low self-esteem. I feel bad, I feel lazy, all these things. But have we slowed down as women, as mothers, as friends, as cousins, and all of the things, all the different hats we wear? Have we actually slowed down to say, how do I feel right now? Like, what do I need? Do I need a
Mm-hmm.
nap? Am I hungry?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know about y'all, but sometimes just sitting down and saying, I just want to go and get something to eat and not worry about getting something to eat from everybody else. Just take myself out to dinner and not have to worry about ordering for the kids. And so for a lot of moms, especially, that feels like they're being selfish, or they feel like a bad mom because they want to have a day or a moment to just only be concerned with themselves. And so I think exploring this topic of how do I get better at being selfish, I think we have to first break down those like barriers that define selfish as being negative, because I do really think it depends on the motive
Yeah.
behind it.
Yeah. And then also ask yourself some other questions like, am I happy?
Yeah.
Like, how often do we sit and ask ourselves, is what I'm doing right now
Yeah.
making me feel happy? Or how is it making me feel? Or do I have peace?
That's good.
Right? Because you can be doing all of this stuff and it looks good on the surface, right?
Right.
It looks good. Oh, I'm doing this for the kids. I'm taking them there. I'm taking care of my husband. I'm taking care of my mother. I'm taking care of my sister, my brother, my auntie, my cousin,
Mm-hmm.
my grandparents. But am I happy? Right? Am I happy? Am I fulfilled? Am I joyful? Am I at peace? Or am I stressed and tired
Right.
and weary and
Right.
frustrated and all of these things while doing all these quote unquote good things?
Right.
So not even just asking that first question, what do I need, but how do I feel, and am I happy? And that's not to say that everything that we do is gonna make us happy, or everything we only do the things that make us happy. But if you never even give yourself permission to check in and ask yourself, is what I'm doing bringing happiness or joy to my life, or peace to my life? And if it's not, then that's an issue. If it's
Right.
never, if the answer is never yes, right, in doing all of these things, if you're just doing it because you feel like you're obligated, or out
Right.
of guilt, or out of the fear that if I don't do it, it's not going to get done, and then everybody's going to suffer to your suffering.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right? So I'm a part of everybody, but if I suffer, it's okay.
Right.
That's not cool. It's not cool to say that it's okay if everybody else is good while I struggle.
Right. I mean,
But
are
think
you really
about
the
this
best?
generational pattern of time where year after year, generation after generation, that responsibility has fallen. What's this?
I have no idea what just happened.
You
No,
don't play the game.
this is what happens. I have no idea what just happened. I was trying to share our screen.
All right, take that
Oh,
off.
good job. There you go.
I don't know what this was. Well,
I was
yeah.
trying to share our screen. Can you make sure it's not on private so that people can join us? Because I think somebody tried to join our link and they said it wasn't working.
Prior. I don't know how to not have it on private. Prioritize only show people sharing. I don't know that it's on private
Okay.
settings. Who can join? Oh, maybe that screen sharing. Who can join the settings? It says only people you approve, but I don't know. I might have to go back into the settings and change that
Okay.
because it has it where I can let people join, but it won't let me change the settings from here.
Okay.
I can allow others to screen share.
Well, whatever. We'll get better at this also.
Right. Because people should be able to see it.
Okay.
So we want people to be able to join us for sure.
No, sorry about that. So I do agree with all of that though. I think that what I was also trying to add to you is that how good are you as a mom or a business owner or whatever if you aren't taking care of yourself?
Right. And that's the thing. We think that we are good.
Right.
We think that
That's
we
true.
are good. We there's no, or we think if we're not good, it's okay. Like it's okay if we get the short end of the stick.
Right.
It's kind of become expected. Like that's just the way it is. It's just the way it is. Yeah, moms, we don't get to live life like everybody else does. It's okay. We're not having fun. It's our job. It's our job to be the ones doing the work and not getting any recognition for it or getting any rest or getting a break. Or like I said, if I don't do it, it's not going to get done. And that's a problem. That's more of a problem than my own satisfaction.
Oh, that's good. Everything else outweighs me as a person and my happiness and joy and my health.
Mm-hmm.
But also, I think looking at it on the flip side, or looking at it in the way of consequences of not getting better, it would be: is it okay for me to always be angry, or is it okay for me to always for me to feel depressed or like I am in lack all the time? I remember this kind of awareness when we were going to get family pictures or something, and everybody was looking good and I'm running out of the house like still trying to put gel on my hair.
Mm-hmm.
I get to the pictures feeling like a slob, and everybody else looking like good with their lip gloss on and everything, and I'm just like, that was one of the first times and I thought to myself, like, who can I actually be mad at? Because I put everybody else over me, making sure everybody else's clothes was ironed and hair was done. But how often that happens? A lot, where we neglect ourselves as because we prioritize being a parent or being everything else. And I'm not saying have your kids out here looking crazy,
Right.
but what I am saying is don't lose your identity as a woman, as a person.
Right.
And being a mother
you
or
get caught up
whatever.
in those roles, and then that becomes your identity, and you lose sight of yourself as a person. Like, who are you outside of those roles? Who are you outside of being somebody's mother or somebody's daughter or somebody's wife or somebody's girlfriend or somebody's friend? You were you before you were ever any of those things, right? When you get so consumed with that and you feel like this is my life's work, is to serve other people and neglect myself, then that is improper perspective of the way things should be. Just because it's the norm doesn't make it right. right? Or
Right.
that's something because I've gotten used to this, that doesn't make it right.
Right.
So how do we work to get better at that? How do we
Well,
change this perspective of I have to be everything to everybody and I get the crumbs or I get the leftovers?
yeah. I think we have to change how we see ourselves in light of what we deserve. So, and if you ask yourself, if you write down a list of things that you aspire to, and number one, if those things seem pretty low, like ask a friend also, because it's really good to have like a good friend because they act as kind of almost like mirrors for us to be able to really see ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
So to really like ask a friend like these are my goals, and then let them like, do you think that these goals are low? Do you think they're attainable? And let that friend give you some feedback. So I think that requires really having people in your corner. So I heard real quick, I heard this little analogy about, have you ever heard of sequoia trees?
Mm-mm.
So there, I believe they are like a form of oak trees or something. But this lady was talking about how big and beautiful and old they are, and she was just talking about how cool they are and how she's really kind of set up her life and her around the idea, the story of sequoia trees. And so she said the reason why these trees last so long and they can withstand fires and storms and all of that, it's because it's not because their roots go so deep, but it's because when you look at a sequoia tree, it's surrounded by other, like a small group of sequoia trees,
Mm-hmm.
and their roots are all tied together.
Okay.
And so their strength comes in their connection with each other. And so I bring that up to say you should have people in your, I guess, in your group or in your corner, in your community, that you are tied to one another, that will help hold you up in those times where you really do need maybe just some feedback or encouragement to level up. And
Mm-hmm.
so one of the ways we get better at it is having people that are going to give us honest and good encouragement and feedback, that are going to say, no, Charlene, you need to increase your rates. Or no, Charlene, you should, take that job. Or no, you need to go on that vacation.
Mm-hmm.
Bring me the boys. Like, no, this is what you need. You can actually, so that's what I'm saying. Having something, whether that be a friendship, a community of people, or even a counselor,
Mm-hmm.
somebody that's going to give you that to help you get out of that mindset that in order to be a good mom, I have to be a social worker. Because I feel like essentially a lot of women, we are raised to be to sacrifice, and we are raised as many social workers. Like, how dare you ask for this,
Right.
right?
Well, you're taking on all that roles. I have to be this, 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 and this, and this, right? I got
Right.
to be a doctor. I got to be a chef. I got to be an accountant, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have to be a manager, a supervisor, all within a household, right? I'm all of
Right.
these things. A maid, uh, uh, all of that, right? A counselor, a therapist to your children, all of those things, along with all these other people in your life outside of your home that you have to attend to or be responsible for. And so you're
Right.
carrying all of this stuff on your back and not looking at, well, what am I doing for me?
Mm-hmm.
That's just for me. That, has nothing to do with these kids, has nothing to do with this significant other, that has nothing to do with my family, that has nothing to do with my friends, but just me. And what does that look like? And
Right.
how do I do it regularly and consistently? Not just one time, this one time event. Oh yeah, I remember 5 years ago I went on this trip once, with my friends, and I haven't been anywhere since.
Right.
And people will expect you to continue in those roles, and they will try to make you feel bad for taking that time for yourself,
Yep.
and saying, no, I'm not going to be there for you because I have to be there for me.
Yep.
You're going to get a lot of blowback from that. You're going to get some, whoa, what you mean no?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
And that's not your problem, right?
Yeah.
If other people have a problem with you saying no, setting boundaries and taking care of you, then those aren't really the type of people you need to have in your circle, because anyone in your circle who sees what you're doing should know you're going to need a break sometime.
Right.
You're
Right.
going to need, or you're going to need help, like you said, your
Yeah.
community being around you to say, hey, let me get this for you. Let me do this.
Yeah.
Let me take that off your plate. But it's also our responsibility not to get in pride and say, no, I got it.
Mm,
Somebody's offering to help
right.
you. You say no because you don't want to be looked at as you can't handle it or
Right.
you're weak in some way.
Right.
So learning how to accept help, learning how to delegate.
Right. Learning
I
how to
say
ask
no.
for help too.
Yeah, asking for help. Learn how to just say no. I'm not doing that
Yeah.
because I don't want to, or I don't like it, or somebody else can do it,
Yeah.
and it doesn't have to be me.
Right.
And
Yeah.
then not feeling guilty about it after the fact. And not
Yeah.
saying, oh man, I had to say no. Even because you can say no even when you can do something. So some people feel like,
Yes.
well, I feel like I can do it, so why should I say no? That should not be the rule. Well, only if you can do something, you should do it. Sometimes I can help someone and I still can say no. And that's
Hmm.
okay. And it doesn't
Hmm.
make me a bad or a terrible person,
Right.
you
Right.
know? And so I think that's another thing. It's well, I can do it.
Yeah.
Should you be doing it just
Right.
because you
That's good. Should you be doing it? Like,
right.
I think our limits also change in different seasons of our lives. So where I could do something 2 months ago, now I'm opening up a new part of my life and a new business, or I got my child is now in soccer, or so my limits now have changed. And what happens is we don't normally step back and say, yes, in theory, I could have done that. And can I? Yes, but maybe I can't, because now my yes to this is a no to me being able to have some time to like have prayer time in
Mm-hmm.
the mornings. Or my yes to this is saying no to me being able to sit at the dinner table with my kids in the evening times, because I've got to finish this up on behalf of somebody else. So yeah, you
Well,
can.
be careful of that too, because think about that. Those two things that you said you're saying yes, you're saying no to, and you can't say yes to those things, those are still in a way a trap to try to have to justify. Because what if I'm saying
That's
no
true.
to you just so I can sit over here and twiddle my thumbs and
That's true.
my toenails, like I don't have to be saying no to do something that's kind of considered valiant or admirable. Maybe I'm saying no just to sit here and read the funnies in the newspaper,
That's
and
true.
and now you're giving yourself permission not to have a justifiable excuse to say no, right? Because if
Right.
I say, well, I'm saying no to you so I could do this, spend more time with my kids, or pray, or do that,
Right.
and you're still kind of putting yourself in this box where I have to have a good reason to say no,
Yeah.
right? What if
So
I have to do,
defining
right?
what
Yeah, the
what
reason
good
I say
is.
no could just be I just want to lay in the bed and eat snacks, and is that bad?
No,
Someone
you have to
else,
define
right?
what good is. You have to
Yeah,
define what value is. So then that's really good. That raises a good point. What do we define as valuable? Do we define rest as valuable?
mhm.
No,
No.
most of us don't.
Well, you look at it as laziness, or you look at it as
Right.
selfishness, or you look at it as whatever. Oh, you just don't want to do it, or well, yeah, maybe I don't want to. Is that good enough? Is
For
it good
me, it
enough
is.
that I don't want to do it? Sometimes,
Yeah.
right? It's not this widespread, like every single day I only do the things I want to do. But
Right.
some of the time it is okay to just to say no because you don't want to and you don't have to.
Right. What
Like,
if we stopped allowing guilt and shame to make decisions for us?
and
Wow.
fear.
And fear.
No fear in there,
Or it
right?
could it can be the fear of feeling guilty. But yeah, all of the above. What if we stop allowing our emotions to make decisions for us? I think that we would live way
A
more
wonderful
authentically.
world we would live in, right? Because these emotions will lie to you.
All the
Will keep
time.
you down to keep you caught up in this cycle of self-abuse, and we're talking about selfishness today, right? Being selfish in a good way, being about self for the good of yourself and other people, because ultimately when you do that and turn your focus inward, it's gonna come out and bleed out onto other people. Because when I feel good and rested and like I've taken care of me, I don't have this resentment taking care of somebody else. Now I don't feel some type of way about having to help you because I've already poured into myself. So now I'm giving out of love, and I'm giving out of peace, and I'm giving out of happiness rather than just that obligation. Right?
That's so good.
That's even biblical there, right? God doesn't want you to give to him out of obligation, but out of revelation, right? Or out of this intrinsic feeling of wanting to give, not because you have to or feel obligated to do it. So I think we can definitely continue this another day. I want to come back because I want to dive more into that superwoman. Syndrome, and why
Superwoman
we
syndrome.
take that on so much, and how it really, we don't recognize the impact it has on our health, stress levels, all kinds of stuff, sickness. All of this comes from this overwhelming burden that we tend to put on ourselves when we don't take care of ourselves mentally or physically, for that matter, because we feel like we don't have time. I don't have time.
Well, or there's something deeper going on. Like, we've defined ourselves as good enough because we have kids or because we have people that depend on us. And so to take those things away, what are we left with? And so
who are you when you're not doing all that for everybody else?
Right. So a lot of us don't even realize that we're holding on to sometimes toxic behaviors that have the identity as being good and doing good, but we hold on to those things. We're doing it again. It goes back to, we're not doing it from the right, with the right motives, even though we think we are.
Right.
It's not coming from a place of desire for the sake of just to give, to do it, but it's coming from a place of I have to, I need to, right? So and then, your kids grow up or your job gets taken away, and now, you fall into a deep, dark depression. But it's because what was defining my joy in the first place?
Yeah. And where was my worthiness and my value, and what was it wrapped up in?
Correct.
At that point. So.
Right. Well, this will be good. We can come back to that, and we can do one on the super.
We gotta come back with a part 2.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're gonna end the live for now. Hopefully, we can figure out how to do it properly. We're trying to learn. We old ladies here trying to learn this new fangled internet.
I'm not old.
Well, I'm old.
You just learning how to use Instagram. I've been on Instagram.
Well, I'm old. That's for them jitterbugs. I'm old. I'm like, I'm Sophia Petrilla. I don't know nothing about no Instagram. Snapbook. None of that, right? So we gonna figure it out though. We'll figure it out. We'll get better at lives.
Yes.
Episode on I get better at going live. So all right, so we're gonna end it there. Okay. We will see y'all next time. This is gonna come out sounding real raggedy when we upload it, but everybody who's been rocking with us for a while, they know.
Tell them where to check us out at.
Oh, check us out on YouTube, iTunes, Spotify. The I Get Better page can be found anywhere where you can stream, typically Google Play. You can find us there as well. Listen to some of our old episodes there. We're going to continue to bring you new episodes every single month on relevant topics, on life, health, love, relationships, mental health, all of those things. So we'll keep getting better. We're going to get better at this live, and we'll come back soon.
Yeah, let's keep getting better so we can do better.
In order to be better.
Good job.
Yeah, see, I remember. All right.
Bye. All right, bye, y'all.